All right, guys. Well, let's spend a couple minutes doing our Hindsight 2020. We've got about 12 minutes left. This show has absolutely whizzed by. Who wants to kick this off here? Think about maybe big lesson from 2020.
I can start off. One of the things that really stands out to me in 2020 is that you can go by and have the correct investing thesis for years and get reasonable returns. And then something can happen that proves the investing thesis correct to the rest of the world, and your gains can go through the roof. We've talked about this before, but I have been a firm believer in the future opportunities for e-commerce, for digital payments, for streaming video, for cloud computing, for telehealth, and have invested accordingly. And over the last couple of years, my portfolio has done really well, but this year has far exceeded any of those expectations, not because of anything that I've done. And it's not because I'm all that smart, because honestly, I'm not that smart. But what I will say is that I had confidence in the investing thesis. It took several years to play out, but now everybody else believes in the investing thesis that I believed in a few years ago, and the returns in my portfolio reflect that.
Lou, what do you have for us?
He's kind of smart. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, at least kind of smart. Right?
He is. He's really smart, but there's something there. And Warren Buffett and a lot of really successful people have talked about the fact that when it comes to investing, guts are a lot more important than brains. It's your mindset. It's your temperament that pays off. And that's key. Go ahead, Lou.
So real quick, two things that are related, kind of both lessons from 2020. First is the power of diversification. I'm the aerospace guy here. I eat my own dog food. I have a lot of stocks that didn't do well during the pandemic that I have in my portfolio. I just looked. I currently have 63 active positions. Only 39, so 62%, are beating the S&P 500 in 2020. I'm willing to bet you guys are doing a lot better. But on average, even including those losers, my stocks have beaten the S&P 500 by 51 points this year.
Nice.
And that's not aerospace. That's Mercado Libre. That's Teladoc. That's Trade Desk. That's Etsy, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm grateful for those stocks, and I'm equally as convinced there will be a year where some of my other stocks will have to pick up on them. Related to that, even hindsight is relative. Mm-hmm. If I said this summer, if I would have known what I know now, why would I be in all these aerospace stocks? I would have sold them in February. And two of my favorites, TransDigm and Heiko, two top companies, were each down over 50% in March. Well, we're going into the end of the year right now. Heiko is actually beating the S&P 500, and TransDigm is within it looks like 4 percentage points. So even hindsight doesn't age well sometimes. So again, set it and forget it, pick good companies and try. You're not going to get louder noise than what we got in March of this year. And if you can ignore that noise and just stick with good companies, you can do all right.
Yeah, I think the biggest hindsight for me is that is as much as 2020 was kind of different in some ways, it was just evidence to me that what works still works, right? What worked in 2019 worked in 2020, and it's going to work again in 2021. And that's having a process, focusing on your financial goals, taking advantage of the market opportunities, but primarily trying to spend as much time in the market as you can versus trying to time the market. I use a tool called Personal Capital to try to measure my portfolio returns. And again, it's hindsight is also subjective. And you look at, so far this year, my portfolio is up around 44% since the beginning of the year. And the S&P 500 is up, roughly 15%. And a very large amount of that is the fact that I did keep a small amount of cash, not a ton of cash, and the fact that I am regularly earning. So I was able to increase the amount of money I was contributing to my investment accounts during the sell-off. And I followed my rules, and I piled in every dollar of cash that I could get my hands on into the market when stocks fell 25, 30, 35%, and was buying as many great businesses that had fallen far more as I possibly could. And I was beating the market over my investing career before this year happened. But it's just accelerated it so much because I aggressively took advantage of that, but not by sitting on a large amount of cash, but by sitting on enough cash to keep me from getting distracted and not anchoring on where I sold while the market continued to move higher. Right. So David Gardner's, his quote about the market, going up more than it goes down, is a reminder that, the easiest, most successful way to invest is the thing that worked last year. And it worked this year and it's going to work again next year. Own great companies as long as you can and focus on your financial goals. So that's what I learned. That's my big takeaway this year.